it's like a minute away, so I always want to check the sound. Ta-da! And why is this not working? Other fails. Okay, there it goes. Cool. Yeah, my phone's probably not going to go off. It's yours. Makes the noise. Okay, so do we have sound? We have sound. We are good. Okay. I don't like leaving too long of a starter thing, but at the same time, I like to make sure everything is right. So, okay, let's let's start this bad boy. Do you have something? Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And that might have been the weirdest start I think I've had. I don't know if that had sound or not. Anyways, sorry. Okay. We are back and we are with a new project. I suppose you guys can remember this green thing we did here a couple weeks ago. Well, we're taking the same idea and we're going to show an alternative version to it. And oh, hey, Amanda. Hello. So we're going to do a different version of what this was. And I kind of want to show you how we got to that. So let's run this. Whoops, this one. Wrong button. Okay. So because the dark red color there is the outer part of the little diamond shapes that I'm creating, I actually ran a twice as long dark red going across my clipboard and then started adding string to it. Now to do this, it's called a lark's head if you need to look it up. But essentially I fold the string in half, put it underneath the straight one, and then it kind of makes a loop. And then if you pull the long ends through the loop and it holds on there. It's relatively simple, but it's very, very time consuming at this point. So I showed you the green bracelet, which has all of like 12 strands because there's 6 colors, right? We are making 24 of those running side by side. So instead of just a doubling the pattern, we are doing 24, which means that there is 288 strings in this project, which also means there was 96 skeins of embroidery floss just to get it started. So if you're thinking you want to try this yourself, I just want to kind of give you an idea of just how much is needed. And that's just to start it. Now I'm pretty sure I have enough of the floss to add the string at least like 3 times. Or well, twice more. I think that's what we planned on. I'm hoping that's what we planned on because just looking at how it's getting used up, it's a bit of a thing. Yeah, little mistake there. Always good to have a nice broad needle to be able to take those out. Yeah, I just picked up a string in the wrong order. Magic 8 Ball. I don't. Mandy's on the ball. She's gonna show you how to do that. So, anyways, yeah, this is a project, obviously, once again, not for the faint of heart. But at the same time, it's going to be super rewarding. Like already I can see. So at 24 bracelets, using this kind of floss, mind you, if you did this with DMC or something else, it might not be, but this is like 18 inches wide. So yeah. What else can I tell you? Told you the number of strings, told you the number of bracelet widths. I told you how to get it kind of started. Oh, One of the things that you'll notice is because of the nature of how I added the strings on, it's kind of counterintuitive to the rest of how the design actually goes. Um, Basically, I went with the easiest way possible, and later I'm going to have a diagram of how to start it, like I did, over on my website for you guys to actually look at. But I did it with the way that was easiest, and I've been playing with this, trying to see if I could determine what is the easiest way to actually make this thing, because I figured this is a pattern that a beginner could do, and I wanted to be able to see like what kind of things that a beginner might run into or that might throw them off or cause them to make mistakes or things like that. So that's what I've been kind of working on for the week here, hoping to have some really good answers for you guys. And I I really avoid being like trying to talk as though like I am the definitive answer on these things, because I obviously know there's other ways of doing it and there's other things I could do that would certainly work. It wouldn't necessarily be easier, but in somebody's mind, they might think it is. And so I don't like saying like, this is how you have to do it, because I do realize there's so many other variations and things that you could do to make this fun and to make it work. So that in mind, I am going to try to show you what I'm doing and how to avoid some simple errors that I think could really trip a person up. So that's what today's really going to be about. Hopefully, um, we can do all that. Mind you, we still have the secret word game, so that's sort of cool. We'll get to that here in a second. I'm gonna let this video kind of play a little longer because I went to a lot of work to make this thing happen. Darn it. Oh, and like my normal speed for that little border to go, you can tell like how much this thing is sped up just by that alone. I love it. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for what this pattern is going to be, and kind of like the big project, we're going to have a couple weeks of live videos of me working on this thing. So if you don't quite get what's going on, or you got questions or whatever, hit me up and I will try to answer them. Or if after the broadcast, you suddenly think of something, just hit me up and we'll have plenty of time to actually do this. All right, so let's go to this. This is secret word game. So chat the right word and pow, you get to win something cool. And let's go to the desktop. There we go. So needless to say, I've been a busy boy, and let's see if I can move this along. It goes way down over there more. So yeah, lots of stuff. Yeah, Magic 8 Ball does that at times. All right. If you're not doubling your strings, I would have no idea. Honestly, I can't even begin, because of the nature of the pattern itself. If you were trying to make it single, then you'd have to run two of the same color side by side if you weren't doubling it up. And yeah, I don't think there's a way of doing this singularly. Plus, I can't honestly envision anybody wanting to do a ginormous project in the singular, because I mean, granted, it's kind of cool that the knots would be really, really super tiny, but you would take forever to get a square inch accomplished. However, if you were so inclined, I suppose you wanted tinier knots, what you could do is use a tinier floss. Like like the Daiso string is definitely way smaller than what this is. Um, but no, there's really no way of adding. Well, okay, If you really, really, really wanted to go single, you wouldn't be able to start on the straight line. You would have to start it as bracelets. So you would skip the loop and you would just run it down both sides and you would start. And when you got to the ends, you would just start joining them together. So you could do that and you could do it in a singular that way. But I wouldn't recommend it personally. I don't. That would be me though. Well, the main reason I wouldn't do it singularly is because the way that I add floss makes it so that it's really super secure. Like if I run a string all the way down to nothing, I I can add on the strings because the way that they're doubled up or whatever. So that's a real big bonus of having your strings doubled. And if you're going to do something this big, you're going to probably have to add the string. And I can't save that for sure doing adding a string when it's singular. I don't think that works out very well. So another another big strike at the singulars. So, but that said, we there's I've worked so hard to get even this far. So one of the things that I've just noticed is in order to work on the next square down, you need to have this diamond. It needs to have that final knot in there because this string joins with this string at the lowest point, right? And if you don't have this line ran through yet, you'll end up at this point, and that means this whole side is lopsided. And that really, um, yes, you can come back later and fill in that row. But if you're looking for simplicity and you're trying to keep yourself from making a mistake, honestly, doing out the whole row at a time makes way more sense. It's it really truly is the thing that I think would be the most likely cause for it to go wrong. The other thing is keeping track of the strings, like where you're at in the pattern itself. Like this, we have the darkest one making the diamond, and then we do all the rest of the colors. Um, in some of these other ones, it was like two past the darkest. This is one past the darkest. No, being able to like see like that as a symbol to know that you're doing the right number of knots was really key in me knowing that I was doing the right stuff. Now you can probably, yeah, you can totally see these rows over here. I tried to channel my inner designer thoughts and try to think what would Nautica or Tommy Hilfiger or something do with a big piece like this. And so I have this one, basically this one little row through here. It's, well, two if you count it the way it goes like this, that are going in the opposite direction. And I thought that would be a fun little way of changing it up a bit. And I tell you what, it is absolutely difficult to try to keep track of where they are and what's going on, and all the colors start to blur, and I hate it. But I think it's really cool that, that it's a possibility. It's something you can do, and it's something that I'm trying. And at the end of the day, I think once more is built up around it, I think I'll probably like it a lot better. So, oh, yeah, okay. So trying to just, okay, so in this bracelet itself, or in this design itself, every knot is either to the right or to the left. There's no zigzags, there's nothing. So, as unless you did a zigzag kind of, a left right or a right left kind of thing, um, all the strings will be going in the proper direction. Any mistake that you made might not even be all that noticeable. So there's that. Let's say if it's a couple rows back though, if you like, let's say if it was this brown one here, right at the very edge of it, just take a straight line towards where the mistake was. You can pull it out. But I think the pattern itself is really good at not letting you make too many mistakes as long as you kind of stick to some of the general things I'm going to, kind of explain. We'll get to more of that over here on over to the right of the design. Actually, I could probably maybe scoot it over to do that. But I wanted to kind of show you how this works. So basically, I'm bringing these all down, and when I get to the end, I will do the dark red that comes this way. Yeah, this has been it's been really kind of rewarding. It's such an easy pattern compared to what I've been working on before that I don't have to think so hard. I love that. I'm good at not thinking. But joking aside, this is definitely easier for a beginner to potentially master this one. Mind you, like I said, you probably want to like play with bracelets and stuff first. Oh, that's the other thing. So in the bracelet, we did the whole fishy design, right? So you kind of use the same color twice, and we discovered that when we doubled this thing. Each one of the squares changes what the outer one is. So this one has the outer of the lightest color. So let's call the lightest color 1 and the darkest color 6, right? So this has 1. Then over here, off to its side, that has 2. The next one down is 3. The next one down is 4. Next one down, 5. And then we have 6. So unlike this, where it took the whole long bracelet to go through all 6, this went through in half the amount of time, obviously, right? So that's kind of neat. Mind you, once I go through the whole set one more time, I will run out of strings just like what this thing was. So that's sort of a sort of interesting change. Oh, and because it's an even number, this will always be 1, and then this will be 3 and 5, and then in this row it'll go again 1 3 5 1 3 5. If I had done this in an odd number, like say 5 colors, it would go 1 3 5 2 4 1 3 5 2 4. So just something, if you're looking to kind of move the colors around a bit more, an odd number has a really cool difference in this. And that's why I say, like, there's so many ways that you can do this. Finding the one that's really going to make you happy, that's the real trick. So okay, so now for this one, you can see I've boxed in the 3 of the sides. In order to box in the 4th side, I need to go into the next square and bring it up from the bottom. And that's kinda. Now, once I do this row here and I bring it all the way out to the end, I could potentially work my way across over here. I just wouldn't be able to necessarily get the last string to box in that row, because I would need this diamond completed in order to make that happen. And that's kind of the gist of why I'm very far ahead on this side and not so far ahead on the other side, is because I'm using that same technique of kind of stepping them through. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Kind of wanted to see what it was like to get the one cycle all the way through all the colors, and not disappointed. I mean, yeah, not disappointed. Yeah, so yeah, knowing where the outer color thing is, yeah, is obviously that is a potential, and not getting it right is a total potential for an error, and why you kind of have what you have to kind of keep an eye on. Like I said, we're gonna shift this whole thing over here in a moment, and I'll kind of try to show you what it looks like when you have left a whole lot of pieces out for that potential mistake to happen, because it is it's a little bit of the Wild West over here. So let's shift all this string off to the side and come over this way. All right, so down here you can see I brought this whole row up to get this diamond, and then I brought this whole row up to get to these, and then we still need to bring this row in to get to this. And so there's a lot of jumps in all of this. If you're truly a beginner, I would recommend just doing one row at a time. You'll know what your outer color is. You'll know how much, like in this row here, right? This row that's going to be continuing all the way across. The darkest color is the easiest to spot because right after it, it's the lightest color. And you can see that there are two of the lighter colors down at the bottom. So when we do, let's pull all this out of the way. So here I have the 6 and 6, right? 12 strands to do the thing, right? There, 6 and 6. When I'm bringing this one off to the left, I can see that I'm going to go across this orange, the darkest, and two of the lighters. And knowing that I need the two light ones down here will tell me that that is the correct number to go across, that I'm not missing anything. And that's, you know, in the next row, it'll be 3. It's my visual cue to know that I'm right on track. And that is what has kept me from making any mistakes so far. So if anything, the closest thing to mistakes is there's some times where the knot just didn't lay quite like I'd like, and I just continued going about my way. But as far as all the dots being in the right directions and stuff, yeah, no mistakes. And that's how I'm doing it. This is my little personal trick for doing it. And mind you, just like before, I went off to the left. I'm going to go to the left again. Just helps to keep the strings from getting bunched up. If they were already good enough to do the row previous, then they should be good for one more. Don't know why we're doing the Wild West thing, but yes. Oh, music. So and see, I totally had the two light ones here. Tells me I'm right on track. And making sure that I'm at the very top, right? So that way as I come down, I'm in the right string to come down. So like this row here, right? I could potentially take this color too far. All right, so how do I know that I don't go too far? That's the whole knowing that it's the dark one and then the two lights, and then what comes after that will be the one that boxes it in. So I've done my two lights. That means this string here is what closes that in, and so I'll set those off to the side so I don't do anything else more with them. And I will very easily at this point finish bringing in this diamond. We're located in the West since when? Are you so drunk? So I thought we were actually more like Lucky Plaza. You guys are really missing out. We need to get a Mandy cam. That's just need a Logitech camera that'll work with the Windows 10. So anyways, almost the end of this thing here, and then I'll box it in. Mind you, there are clips all over this board at the moment. Stuff that keep strings off to the left, ones that keep the strings off to the right. But that's kind of what you need to do when you're dealing with 288 strings, which I don't know if you guys seen my Instagram post, but I posed the question, how many strings constitutes being a lot? Because I kind of feel like 288 sort of feels like it's a bunch. I mean, I can't obviously call this a big project after the last big project, you know, that's doesn't seem to jive, but it's still kind of big. Yes, what he said. So now that this diamond is in here, so this is completing the row that has 2 past the darkest, right? Now if we want to work on the row that's above it, we're still missing the knot of where this color goes to itself. So to make sure that we don't mess things up, what we would do is go to the next one over and bring that dark one down, well, the top one, bring it all the way down to the end, and that way we can actually work in this space up here. And this is true all the way to the very end. You would just close off the whole box before going one row up, and it will help you to make sure that you don't make the mistake. So yeah, if for you 40 strings is a lot, I guess 288 is monstrous. For me, 288 is like, ooh, that's nice. It's a little bit of a challenge. See, by closing this in, it helps me prevent from having an error happen in the next row up. I know that there was a duration during the pandemic where all things webcam related, because of schools and everything else, kind of got out of control. So I honestly don't know what they're kind of going for. I don't think we need like the one that I have pointed at the work. I don't think we need that kind of quality. If we could get like a, I don't know, like I said, I would prefer a Logitech just because I have the software already running. You're right, Phil. It probably would make more sense. I forget which. Why do they not write the model on the camera? Why can't I just look at this thing and know what it is? It's a Logitech, and it's the one that's capable of 4K. Well, no. I know it's high def. It might be 4K. I don't know what it is. So let's move up to this next row so I can kind of show you that. But we're sort of not as close to the edge, so you can see in this instance we do have the middle one in place, so bringing this down works out perfectly. Pull all those out of my way. She says that, but she's sitting over here looking gorgeous. There's no PJs, there's no bad hair. She's bluffing you guys. Winter made it. Hello, Winter. And you're right. She could show off those fancy hairbands. She's got, I don't know if you realize this, but she's got kind of a number of those things. There. So I bring the outer color all the way to the edge, and then the next color will also come to the edge. And this time, like I was saying before, the other one had 2 past the darkest. This one will have 3, and you can see that's the 3 right here. And double checking to make sure that you have the right numbers and stuff is really kind of key in making sure that you haven't made a mistake or that you're not going too far with your row, and that will save you having to undo the knots. You were asking me before, like, what happens if you make a mistake. I'm trying to show you how to not make the mistake. This is the clever way of keeping it all kind of moving along in the right direction without the errors. Yeah, Winter, it totally is fun to see something big again, and it's been so delightful this week working on this. It is so much easier because it's all the squares are the same. It's, well, I say that there's a row back here that I did upside down, but kind of trying to be artsy. But yes, it is fun to have something big on the board again. And mind you, it's this one's only 18 inches wide, so I don't suspect it's going to take that long to fill up. All right, so now this is the side where you could accidentally blow past your mark. So this is the first light one, second light one, and we stop with the third. And that, once we get to there, we can take these strings and kind of just lay them off to the side because we won't need them until we square this part off again. And again, just making sure that you have the right number. 1, 2, and 3 past this darkest just helps to assure that you're right on course. You're not leaving any off. There's no errors. Yeah, I'm kind of down for some pizza myself, like right now. Like hearing that, like, that sounds awesome. Do we have Little Caesars delivered? Oh man, so I don't know if you noticed Phil's here. Phil, we have Little Caesars, and the crazy part is, it's like the most gourmet pizza here in Singapore. Like it's so like the right amount of cheese, the right amount of cooking, the right amount of everything. It is like the most perfect example of what good Michigan pizza tastes like. And they like outdo themselves by far. Like this is nothing like pizza in Detroit. So yeah, go figure. Yeah, I'm not like hating on the whole Hawaiian thing, even though it's not really like Hawaiians will argue that don't drag them into it. Um, but you know, I've had it, so it doesn't kill me. Oh, and we have, I don't know if this is actually a chain. Maybe Winter can answer this one. We have over here something called Canadian pizza, which is really not good quality pizza. Like, seriously, the dough is just so flat and like almost always like overcooked, I think. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't have that fluffiness that Little Caesars has. I don't know why. Okay, so now, like we did with this row over here, where we brought the one down, we're going to do that again. Yeah, Little Caesars used to do it like a thing, they called it pizza pizza. And that's how they said it, pizza pizza. Where you get 2 pizzas for a low price. But then they went with the super fast, hot and ready now. And that seems to be way more popular. I don't think our Canadian pizza does thick crust. For like a deep dish kind of pizza, we have to go to John's Pizzeria, which, oh man, they're pretty good. All right, back to bracelet thing. Okay, this row coming up will close off for this one, and we can go ahead and do one more this way, but we won't be able to close it off because we don't have what's going down below over here. Really? Somebody is watching the ads from the United States and went, aha! Yeah, for the pretty much the first 9 or 10 years of living in Singapore, I had to suffer without having any pizza that even came close to anything back home. And then suddenly there was John's Pizza, and John's was trying to mimic Buscemi's, and because they were doing the same kind of like deep dishes that Buscemi's did. And then out of nowhere, suddenly we have Little Caesars on the scene, and Little Caesars was like started out in the suburbs of Detroit, and just like, oh man, that's so much of my childhood had pizza. You know, that was our go-to thing. Yes, pizza. Yeah, and Mandy's right. Singapore goes for more of an Italian style, which I don't know. It's not the same. Yeah, and Pizza Hut here. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Pizza Hut here has seafood dishes. You can get like a seafood pasta, because you know what's more, pizza than having like just weird stuff. Like, oh my God, it's really terrible. Okay, we had Domino's when we were down working at East Coast, right? There was a Domino's, yeah, but they're not good either. Yeah, no, they're like, I don't know what it is about Domino's here, but they're terrible as well. Really bad crusts, terrible. The tomato sauce, they skimp on it, and they don't, I don't know, just not quality stuff for sure. Don't know about Rockies. Yeah. Yeah, it's like sometimes the sauces, like they actually change the flavor of the pizza sauce to kind of resemble like chili sauce, which again, you guys have like chili sauce with everything, and it's not even like, it's like got too much vinegar in it or something. I don't know. I like spicy, don't get me wrong, but don't dig the chili sauce thing. Yeah, locals tend to ruin everything. We went to a place, I think it was called the Yellow Submarine, I think it was the name of it, that was inspired by Philly hoagies. And these boys went to great lengths to be able to mimic that flavor of a Philly's hoagie just perfectly. And the locals hated it, so they altered the flavor some and went with this weird sort of version. And because yeah, you have to add that sort of vinegar and chili whatever, and then the locals were okay with it, so you know. Oh, oh God, no, no, please say people don't do such things. Really? No. So for anybody in the States wondering what that was, Duran is I guess that's a fruit? Is it a fruit? Yeah. So it's a fruit that smells like dirty socks. It's nothing really special to taste-wise either, so I really have no idea why anybody does it other than on a dare. Like literally, that's the only reason I can see why anybody would eat the things. Oh, and I like Pezzo. Pezzo's kind of okay. Pezzo is like pizza by the slice that sort of might have been pretty good when the pizza first came out of the oven, but you don't know how long it's been sitting underneath the light, so, you know, take your chance. So this basically makes this as far as I can go, right? Obviously, it can't go over here because there's nothing there yet. And you can kind of see how I've set it up to where I won't make mistakes. I'll have almost all of this boxed in, but I won't have the last bit of it. So I won't fill in this square here until I have this one. Can't have this one until I have this down here done. And that is part of my methodology on how to prevent having something go wrong. So let's kind of bring the board back this way a bit. And that way I can kind of work on this area through here. And since we're up one higher than this, instead of having 3 light colors past the darkest, now it'll be 4. Each time that kind of goes up by 1 until it kind of resets itself. Yeah, you kind of guys have put on a subject that is kind of taboo around here. We don't talk about food late in the evening if it's something that we can't have, because there's nothing worse than getting all juiced up with the notion of, oh, that sounds awesome, but then you can't have any. There we go. So basically, that long row is doing the right side of this box, and the the top right, and then the bottom left of the next one down, which is sort of cool. And it's sort of a stitch in time kind of thing to be able to do a nice long row together. So yeah, definitely digging that. Yeah, there's nothing like a phone update to get you upset, I can imagine. Oh my gosh, Winter, you are a Canadian rebel. Oh, and now that I've shifted this over some, you can actually see the upside down road now. It's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. I think it'll become more predominant once everything else gets kind of filled in. Yeah, I don't know what there is to hate about it. I love some maple syrup, so. Then again, I also like things like honey and all kinds of yummies. So I kind of like how this is turning out. I think Amanda had said earlier that this looks like it's fire. I like that. I think that's a great analogy. These colors really kind of jump. But my parents did do stuff like that. My parents, we had, you know, regular amounts, days of having French toast with maple syrup, or pancakes with maple syrup, or waffles with maple syrup. That was kind of like a special thing or whatever, as far as I was concerned. And yeah. Mind you, I wasn't born that far away from Canada. Like, there's just a river between me and Canada. And we used to go over there quite frequently, actually, over to Windsor. Oh, so speaking of how to do this easier, obviously one of the reasons why I'm having to use the whole count how many dots past the dark in each one of the rows is because the fades are so close to each other. If I had done this pattern in a rainbow like this, it's a lot easier to know you're doing the yellow, then the green, then the blue, then the purple. It's just easier. If you're new to this and you're thinking, easy, you say, something big and rewarding, you say, well, I might give that a shot. Well, one of the things you might consider is not having colors that are so close to each other that it's difficult. You have to be in the right kind of lighting to tell which one is which. Yeah, you might skip that part and go straight for very distinct colors, like a rainbow, or I don't know, just colors that have a distinct contrast to it, because would certainly be a lot easier. Now, obviously, I could work up in here with these ones, but just to kind of keep things easy and kind of going or whatever, we're going to go over here. We won't go to this one because we don't have that square, but we can go as far as to this one here. So, and then we'll do up in the top row. Oh yeah, crepes are good. My mom used to do crepes that had like cottage cheese and raisins in it, and yeah, those were good. Is that a French thing? Seems like it might be a French thing. Huh? Yeah. Well, there's a strong influence of French whatever in Canada. Yep. Oui. Ooh. That sounds like something that we had in Thailand. That's kind of like a crepe, isn't it? What is that? Is it? Yeah. Yeah, the Thailand's take on a crepe is like, heck yeah, done right there in the street for you. So this row is a little bit easier. It's outlined in the most red color, which is a bit easier to tell from the oranges. So this one is a little bit easier to manage. Wow. Somehow it doesn't seem all that healthy. And again, so this one, I could either count from the top that it's the 4 colors down, or just stop it where the red one is, because I know that red is the outer layer to it. So having your options open to how to know when to stop that row is really good. All right, Amanda, have a good night. Yeah, I'm not sure how late we're going to go with this. We've had a kind of a busy day here today. Mandy's mom had taken a turn for the worst, and we were actually told to come and visit now because this might be the last time. So things got a little bit crazy there, but she stabilized and she's back to being, well, she's still not great, but we're no longer worried that she's going to pass away today. So it's been a bit of a stressful day, and it's kind of nice to get into the groove with some knots, kind of put all that stress behind us and turn it into something creative, which is one of the things I like about this whole art, is that we can kind of focus on one knot at a time, one string at a time, and kind of forget about the troubles and the things that, you know, come our way. So yeah. But yeah, this is definitely going to be on the board for at least a few more weeks. This is a little bit more than a week in where we're at now. I suspect by next week this whole row here should be complete, and I'll be up on the next portion down from this. That's kind of something to look forward to. I'm trying to not push myself as hard. You know, I used to get kind of down on myself pretty bad if I didn't accomplish some ridiculous amount on any given day. And I'm kind of realizing that this adding stress to try to push myself to do more and work harder is counterproductive, because it's just stressing me out and making me feel bad, and like physically bad. So I think I'm going to try to set more reasonable goals and go from there, see how much I can, you know, put in a few hours of good hard work and then kind of relax a bit. So yeah, that's the plan, at least. I was kind of hoping that Irina was going to be here. I went to my shrink appointment and I took the big project with me because, you know, trying to explain to her how it is I've been able to gauge how well the medication is working doesn't make sense until you see what I've been working on and how I was able to judge my day-to-day performance based on something like that. And she didn't lock me away, so that's, you know, that's the good news of it. I was not committed for being insane. Yeah. When I can sit with less distraction and able to focus and do more, yeah, it's a pretty good way of a barometer of knowing just how well it's working. So yeah. Mind you, I still have, some difficulty with concentration and all that kind of stuff. And I recently had, um, well, it was actually waiting for the doctor's office that I had a bit of a anxiety thing. I don't know. I think calling it a panic attack is a bit much, but definitely this weird vibe, and realize that I really do need to keep a fidget, uh, like a fidget spinner or fidget toy, whatever, with me. Um, Instead of like, I can't rely on the phone to sort of be calming or whatever. I think like social media and those kind of things just really cause more anxiety than relieving it. But a small fidget toy or whatever can just get me to kind of not associate with whatever it was that was setting me off. So yeah, I now carry something with me all the time now, so that when facing stress and I can't, do whatever else, I just play with my little toy. Yeah. Yeah, I have friends who have like full blown panic attacks, and that's why I'm hesitant in calling mine a panic attack. It was more like heavily induced anxiety, which I guess sort of is like a panic attack. Just I didn't maybe I was coping better with it than other people do. I don't know. It was just I was really uncomfortable for a little while there, and then my number got called, and then I was able to kind of calm down and talk about my work and what I do and da da da. And went okay, but there was a little duration there where things went a little weirded out, and yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah, so I had my doctor give me some pointers, things that I can do towards getting through these things, and yeah, I got worksheets and stuff to work through, so I'm going to learn how to deal with this new quirk of mine. Yeah. Yeah, something to that effect. So yeah. I don't think it helps that the medication that's supposed to help me with my ADHD helps really rev me up as well. So I mean, that's part of the whole, they give you essentially a low dose of meth to deal with the fact that you don't have I think it's dopamine or serotonin or one of those. So it's sort of it's probably not the easiest thing to deal with. Yeah, I have got breathing exercises for going to sleep, but I don't have anything for random freaking out in doctor's offices. So. Yeah, so earlier I was talking about like the whole, like how far you can go and what you can do to keep from making the mistakes. So essentially, because we finished this square here, but we couldn't close this one off because it wasn't there. That means I can't go into this square, but I can use this square to square off this box here, which I will do. But that's kind of like when you're going off doing multiple rows, this is sort of how to do it. If you're really trying. Now, mind you, like I said, at the very beginning of this isn't like the definitive way. This is the easiest way I can find to do it to avoid having a problem. Now, there are some people who would say, oh, I can go ahead and bring this both directions and just have to remember to add one more to the side of each one of this. But I think that's not intuitive, and I think that's just setting yourself up for making a mistake. And that if you can avoid those kind of pitfalls, then why wouldn't you do that? Why flirt with a notion just to get an extra little bit up here done? It doesn't make any sense. It's Hmm. Hmm. All right. It's like I was saying, I can't fill in this square here, but I can bring this row all the way up to the top, which will actually help serve as a nice visual aid to kind of show me that this diamond wasn't completed anyways. So that's kind of not bad. And not a bad amount of accomplishment so far here tonight in the video. It's only been a little more than an hour and 15 minutes, give or take. Yeah, it is very fiery colors. It's really fun. I'm really happy. One of these colors, one of the oranges, is the orange from Big Project. So there is a little bit of a tie-in, if you will, between this and that. And that was part of the whole idea when picking out the colors, was that, there would be that kind of link. So anyways, like I said, today's been a really troublesome kind of day, and dinner came kind of early, so now it's late and I am starving. So I'm gonna call it a night here. Before I go, though, I do want to thank all my Patreon supporters for helping making this be possible. Honestly, I couldn't keep the channel going without you guys, so I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart, really. You'd have no idea what it means to be able to keep showing people how to be inspired, that you can do bigger projects, and they don't have to be as complicated as the big project. It can be this kind of simple designs as well. And I want to get the word out. I want to show people that, there's more to this than just the simple bracelet, and that even the bracelets if that's as far as you ever do, that's okay too. You don't have to do big. But maybe, I can share a little bit of wisdom and help get you through some things that, might be difficult or whatever. So that's my aim. That's my goal. So hopefully you guys are inspired, and I will see you next week with this project. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.